Hey everybody, I'm Chris and welcome to Playing Games. Today we're going to learn how to play the Italian card game Tressette. If you're an Italian American like me, you might be familiar with Scopa and Briscola. Amazing games in their own right. But most Italians who came to America came from southern Italy, and some say the best came from Sicily. Scopa and Briscola are really popular in those regions, but in the north of Italy, they love to play Tressette. Where do you think the best Italians come from? Drop a comment, let us know. Get that blood feud going. So what is Tressette? Well, the title comes from 3 sevens. Tre means 3 and sette means 7. When the game first came out, if you had 3 sevens in your hand, you instantly won. Now that's no longer the case, but the name stuck. The object of the game is to be the first player or team to reach 21 points. Actually, 3 times 7 equals 21, so maybe the name still sticks. To get those 21 points, each player or team will try to win cards with point values. Meaning, cards are won by playing the highest card in the led suit. Like Scopa and Briscola, Tressette is played with a 40-card Italian deck, preferably the Sicilian one, or a standard poker deck with the 8s, 9s, and 10s removed. That leaves your deck with 10 cards per suit. However, the values do not ascend from ace to king. Tressette is a little mixed up in value. For first-timers, it might be useful to write this order down while you're getting the hang of the game. Tressette's cards are ranked in a somewhat unusual way. The low card is the 4, then the 5, 6, 7, Jack or Fante, Queen or Cavallo, King or Rey. The top 3 cards are the Ace, the 2, and 3 being the highest card in the game. The 4s through 7s have no point value. The face cards and the 2s and 3s are each worth 1/3 of a point. The Ace is worth 1 point, and 1 extra point is given to the player who wins the final pickup, giving a possible 11 2/3 points per round. This is a mixed-up order even for Italian cards. In Italian cards, sometimes the 3 is the second highest card, but never the 2, and certainly the 3 has never been the highest card in the game. Tressette is on its own here with having in sort of 1, 2, and 3, ace, 2, and 3 being the high cards here, and that's confusing, especially if you're just beginning. So just make a mental note that 2s and 3s are really valuable in this game, so don't just throw them out willy-nilly. If you have an Italian-style deck, you'll notice that the aces, 2s, and 3s are very decorative cards, and the reason for that is Tressette. With the Italian deck, you can more easily understand that the 2s and 3s and aces are important cards. The face cards, the 2s, the 3s, and aces are the only cards that have point values in this game. Speaking of points, the counting system in Tressette will test your ability to add fractions. All face cards plus the 2s and 3s are each worth 1/3 of a point. Yes, 1/3 and not 3 points. The ace stands out as it's worth 1 full point. That gives a total of 10 2/3 points from the cards per round. Yeah, 2/3 is a thing in this game. There is 1 bonus point given to a player or team who wins the last trick of a round. All said and done, the maximum points per round is 11 2/3. However, after points are tallied, you must round down fractions, so really the max score you can get per round is 11. It will take minimum 2 rounds for a player or team to get the winning 21 points. Is this a 2-player game or a 4-player game? Well, it works great either way, but it's much more fun with 2 teams of 2. There's a great amount of deception and pitfalls when you have 2 teams. That said, for the sake of best understanding the rules, let's first learn how to play in a 2-player game. If you want to graduate onto team play, there are tons of resources online. I'll link a couple of sites below that help you learn how to play this game with 4 players. Okay, if you're ready, let's get into gameplay. The first thing you'll do is shuffle the 40-card deck. Have your opponent cut the cards, and then deal 10 cards to each player. Yes, 10 cards to each player. 4, 6, 8, 10. The remaining 20 cards are not in play for the rest of the round. Set them aside. You can then look at your cards. Do not show them to your opponent. For the sake of instruction here, we will be showing the cards open-handed. So each player has 10 cards. And if you recall the point system, aces are worth a point. Each player has an ace. Those are very valuable. The 2s, the 3s, and the face cards are each worth 1/3 a point. This player has 2 face cards and then several 2s and 3s. 3 2s and 1 3. This player has 1 ace and only 1 other card of value. At this stage, players organize their hands. There's no rule for this, but typically you'll want to keep any high value cards, especially aces, together. It's also very useful to organize by suit. Then you can see how much of a run you can make on that suit. In the case of the dealer, there's a great run on spades. After you play a few matches, you'll begin to find the best strategy for you. So let's see what's working for these two players. The dealer has a great run in spades: 4, 5, 6, 7, king, ace. And those are all in order from lowest to highest. That's pretty much the only suit they're strong in. They have a few diamonds and then one of each of the other two suits. But that means if they get a run of spades and they know this player is out of spades, they can just run these cards and win hand after hand. Now, if their opponent understands they're low in hearts or diamonds or clubs, then they can run on the dealer. Now let's look at the opponent here. They've got a really great run in clubs. Why is 5 on this side? Well, 5 is actually the lowest club they have, because remember the 2s and 3s are high. The next highest card is the ace, not the 2 or the 3, because the ace comes after the king. Next comes the 2, and finally the highest card of clubs is the 3. So they have a really strong run here. This is an invincible run right here. Ace, 2, 3. There's actually a term for having an ace, 2, and 3 of one suit. It's called a Napolitana. Now, I mentioned this was a Northern Italian game. Well, I don't know how it got the name Napolitana and not Milanese or Bolognese, but it's the Napolitana. And if you have the Napolitana, you're invincible in that suit. So if you deplete all of the other players' clubs, you can play these 3 cards in a row. You can just plop them down and take the next 3 cards that player gives you. Or you could save them for the last 3 hands of the game, which is a great strategy. And then you not only win those last 3 hands, but you win the last hand, giving you an extra point. So this is a really powerful combination here, having the ace, 2, and 3. This player doesn't have that situation, but they do have a lot of spades. There are 2 strategies happening here. This player is going to want to capitalize on spades, and this one is going to want to capitalize on clubs. All right, so how does the play begin? The play begins with the player who's dealt to first, counterclockwise to the dealer, and that would be this player. As a rule, you want to kind of fish out what the other player has. You certainly want to see if they have clubs. If this player realizes that this player doesn't have clubs right off the bat, they can save these to the end and score on them. Tressette, unlike Briscola, is a trick-taking card game in which you have to follow suit, meaning the player who plays the first card leads the suit. If, for instance, they play the 5 of hearts, this player must follow with the hearts if they have it in their hand. If they do not have it in their hand, they reveal by playing a different card that they don't have hearts, giving a very vital piece of information to their opponent. Now, you cannot bluff. That's cheating. If you have a heart, you must play the heart. If you don't have a heart, you can play whatever you want. If it comes out later that you had a heart when you should have played a heart, you're a cheater. Leave the game. Nobody likes you. Okay, so this player played the 5 of hearts. That's a lead for this game. So whether or not the dealer wants to win it, they have a 6 of hearts. They have to play it, and the 6 is 1 up from the 5, so they win it. That means this player has to lead. Leading is not such a great thing sometimes. Sometimes you want to see what the other player has in their hand, let them play it out first. Other times you do want to lead to sort of prod your opponent. So it doesn't matter. Their hands were tied. They have to play. Now they could start playing their spades to sort of fish out to see how many spades this person has, and that might not be a bad strategy because they have a really deep well of spades. But just for the sake of it, we're going to keep it low and play with this 4 of diamonds. So the opponent must play one of their diamonds because the dealer led with the diamond. They have the queen, which is worth 1/3 of a point, and the 2, which is 1/3 of a point. Now the queen is ranked lower in the hierarchy, and if they think that this player might have the ace of diamonds, they might want to hold on to that 2 to play that 2 on top of that ace. So they would play the queen first, win that card. So each player has won a hand now. The opponent leads again because they won, and they can decide should they play one of their suits they haven't played already because they know they've played the hearts. They know that this player had a heart. They've also played diamonds, so each player knows that they started with at least 1 diamond. So they can continue on the diamonds to see how many more diamonds. But I think really what they want to find out is, does this person have clubs? So maybe they'll play the 5 of clubs. And in fact, this person does have 1 club. So they play it, they win it. So this person's now thinking, okay, well, I can't get us back to clubs because I used up my last club. But I do want to play this Napolitana hand here when we get back onto clubs. Now that might be tricky. They're going to have to win to restart. And in this case, this player won. So they think maybe it's time to start the fishing for spades. So they put out the 4. Well, they have a spade and they can win the spade. So the opponent wins with the Jack of spades, aka the Jack of de Mayo. Either they could run their 3 cards here now or wait till later. They still have some powerful cards here. They also have the heart. Now they could play the heart, get rid of the 7, let them win that. Again, the great thing about Tressette is it's a lot of binary choices. Should I win to have a better advantage later, or should I just take the advantage now? There's a bit of like greed almost. Are you greedy now? Are you greedy later? Or are you cautious? Do you just wait for play to happen at the end? Or do you try to get ahead of the game and figure out what your player has and capitalize on things early and weaken them so that they can't even have a good end game? You'll develop that strategy. You'll play other players who are quite good and you can, riff off of their strategy a little bit. But it's really just experience. Knowing your opponent, knowing yourself, and in teams, knowing your teammate is very important too. All right, so now we're getting to the last 5 cards, and this is where things get pretty interesting in my opinion. Everybody's saved up some sort of strategy for the end, and now you're gonna sort of see if it worked or if there's a kink in your armor and your opponent's gonna get the best of you. So this player could play any 2 of these cards and they're probably gonna win because they are quite powerful cards. So they play the 2. I can't beat a 2. I play the 5. They next play the 2 of spades. Well, this is great because this player has spades. However, the 2 is such a strong spade that nothing here can beat it. You would think the ace is the strongest, but it's not. Remember, it's below the 2 and the 3, so it doesn't matter. Throw away the 6. Now it's dead. It's game over basically, or it's at least the round is over for the dealer now. What they don't know is that this player had the Napolitana. Then this player could just show the Napolitana right away. Look, I've got the ace, the 2, the 3. There's nothing you can do. We're leading with clubs. I've got the best 3 clubs. You can't win. So the dealer has to forfeit all 3 of the cards. And so the opponent wins the last hand, giving them that 1 extra point. All right, so now you count your cards. It's going to be pretty easy for the dealer because they didn't score very much. In fact, they have no points. None of these cards have value. Value cards start at Jack or Fonte, and then Queen or Cavallo, King or Rey, and then the ace is 1 point, and then the 2s and 3s are each a third of a point. Now, the opponent is going to cake here because look, you can split these up as thirds. 1/3, 2/3. 3/3 is 1 point. 1/3. Okay, this is a separate point. 2/3. 2 points. 1/3, 1, 2. Okay, so the third points, put them in 3s. 1 point, 2 point. Each ace is a point. 1, 2, 3, 4 points, and a third. Now you round down, so it's actually just 4 points. However, they also won the last hand, so they get 1 extra point. So the opponent swept with 5 points from the very beginning, and the dealer got 0. So the opponent is in the lead with 5 points. That's going to be tough to make up. The dealer has 0. Now the dealer changes. It goes to the opponent, and they will shuffle the cards, and you'll play again. Now, do make sure to take the 20 cards you removed from the deck before and add them back in when you're shuffling. We mentioned that there was a maximum of 11 and 2/3 points you can get. Well, that would mean you had all of the point cards in the 20 cards you use. In team play, No matter what, you're going to have those 11 2/3 points in play. In 2 players, you're probably not, as we just saw that one player maxed out at 4 1/3 points. That's because there were so many other point cards in the 20 cards you took out. Keep track of your scores and move to the next round and play the same as before, with the next player counterclockwise becoming the round's dealer. When one player has 21 or more points at the end of a round, they're the winner. Congratulations. The very last hand is quite important. Whoever wins that last pickup gets 1 extra point. You will want to win this point, and many players hold back a strong card to win at the very end. An even better strategy is to find a suit that other players don't have early on in the round. Then at the end of the round, lead with that suit, and your opponent won't be able to win against a suit they don't have. It's important to have a strategy to win as many aces as possible, since they're worth the most points. You might be tempted to play an ace early on in the game, but this could be a big mistake. If you remember the ranking of the cards, then you remember that the ace does have the highest point value, but it can be outranked by the 2 and 3 cards. So if you throw out the ace of spades early on, your opponent might have either the 2 or 3 of spades to take your ace. Plus, they get the 1/3 of a point for the 2 or the 3. As a strategy, it's better to hold back on your aces until you're more confident that your opponent doesn't have the 2 or 3 of that suit, or until after they've already played them. To help draw out those cards, you can play cards lower in that ace suit. In this case, diamonds. If you have enough diamonds, you can force them to play out their own diamonds. Here they would have to play their 3 because it's their last diamond. And once they've played their 2s and 3s, or they begin to play other suits, you know that they can't beat your ace, and you can play it safely. This strategy works best for a 2-player game. It's a bit more complex for group play. I hope this gives you the basics on how to play Tressette. Once you get the hang of it, try to get some friends together and play in 2 teams of 2. Not unlike bridge, teamwork is very important, and there are a lot of signals you can send your teammates, which makes the game more entertaining and competitive. Most importantly, make sure you have fun. Did you like this video? Let me know if I got something wrong or if you play it differently, or you just want to say hi. Please comment, like, and subscribe to help keep this alive. I'm Chris, and I'll see you next time on Playing Games. How did this card get here? Ah, it's the Ace of Likes card. Just click the subscribe button below and you'll earn a point to something.